yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need the G-Wagons. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense. That good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need the G-Wagons. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808s, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stocks crashing. Like an IPO trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now the king left and they so mad, it's like
good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need the G-Wagons. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense. That good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need the G-Wagons. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense.
yeah, hey, look what I got. New whip with no top. Cooking up no stove top. Ice cold, no snow drop. Big budget has big facts. Big money in the contract. Been running no contact. New record with the new tracks. Yeah, they been sending me new plaques. I don't really need new plaques. Nah, big rock with the suplex. Yeah, new rock got a new flex. Yeah, I'm current, I'm a new trend. Now boys with the full scent. Yeah, like I said, no new friends. We don't really need new friends.
Good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need the G-Wagons. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense. That good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need the G-Wagons. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense.
Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapping. Sitting high up on the stone. When my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapping. Sitting high up on the stone. When my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, glowing up, but we still trapping. That's how a nigga survives. Flowing out, got the crowd packed. Yeah, that's how a nigga provides. Y'all insta this, y'all snap that, y'all diss this, and they snap back. Another mass shooting in the headlines. I'm like, damn, where that attack at? Cause y'all think this about race. They font that shit in your face. It's like every day it's the same agenda. It's really not that hard to trace. Fuck it, we might as well face it. Accept it, whatever it's wrapped in. There'll come a day when they run out of grace. So me and my niggas stay trapping. Yeah, ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped. Sitting high up on the stone. When my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Hey, someone be too who I wanted to be and then what I became. Ended up going my own way, but I couldn't stay in my lane. Now if I'm honest, I've taken a liking to wearing these chains. They hold me down, make it easier when I start feeling the pain. Out of the overflow, your heart, they say your mouth speaks. Well, my heart must be fucked up, cause I can't speak and I can't sleep. So I stay woke in this daydream. Got shit to do, got the world to see. Got the same crew, got some new fleets. This an empire, fuck a boutique, that's real. I only say what I feel, got a new plate with the same meal. On a new hype with the same chill. Y'all too fake, I stay real. Got cast down from heaven, but I'm too good to stay in hell. I don't know where the story ends, but I keep writing like, oh well, oh well. Yeah, I keep writing like, oh well, oh well. Yeah, hey, I don't know where the story ends, but I keep writing like, oh well, oh well. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped. Sitting high up on the stone. When my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped. Sitting high up on the stone. When my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah.
The following program is rated TV MANOC. It contains a big pair of nuts directly on your chin. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Justin! I love you!
I love you! Go to the fucking gym.
What a sport!
Swole Normuth.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
What's going on, beaches, booshes, bustas, hustlers, and yo-hos? It's your boy, Papa Swolio, back with another episode. In today's episode, the Beastcast is brought to you as powered is sponsored by Everest and K2, flexing on all you beaches. Welcome to the show, fam. Hit the like button and subscribe. We're live on Rumble and YouTube at The Daily Swole. And of course, you can follow over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure you split your ear holes open with the greatest Swole fam in the realm, nay, the only Swole fam in the realm. You know the deal. You know the deal. We're here. We're here. We're making those sick fucking gains, and hope you are too. Hope you're making gains today. Hope you went to the fucking gym. Hit the like button and drop in the comments. What are you smashing today? Let's get into that tip. Shall we do it? Before we do, let's do our daily merch pick. Let's see what we got. Who we got today? Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are, Peter. You're on your own window. We got this one from Turab Khan. Back to the fucking gym. You're welcome. Thanks, Papa Swole. You're welcome. You're welcome. Rocking it. Yeah, buddy. You're a very swole man. You're a very swole man. We love it. We love it. Look at those gains. Back to the fucking gym. Back to the fucking gym. And the best part about that is I got that on the wall. So that works out well. That works out well. Thanks for sharing. Let's get into that tip, beaches. Babe, just an inch. It's cold outside. I love the merch picks. I love seeing the merch in the wild. Let's get into the first Swole fam post. This one's from Adam. Adam says, did you know exercising your legs guarantees citizenship? Would you like to know more? Hashtag don't vote if you skip leg day. And of course, doing deadlifts and rocking the don't vote if you skip leg day. That's good advice. That's really good advice. I think that would solve most of our problems because, you know, anyone at those ICE protests, they don't do legs. You can tell because they're all morbidly obese and or half dead. Yes, or paid. So, you know, we got a lot of paid protesters not protesting peacefully. So a lot of paid rioters again. It's riot season. Based on all that information, because we're just going to repeat this cycle every summer, I suppose. If you skip leg day, you should not vote. I think that's great advice. I think that would solve most of our problems. A lot of people wouldn't think about that. They think it's short-sighted, but I think that would really solve the issue. If you skip leg day, even if you lift, you shouldn't be voting if you skip leg day. If you lift and you skip leg day, you make even worse choices. Not only do you lift, but you're lifting and then you're avoiding that. So if you don't lift at all, it makes sense. You skip every day. So this narrows it down even more. I think we'd have like 1,000 people voting in the country. No, I know there's more than 1,000. Just 10,000 people voting. Just everyone skips legs, apparently. All right, Ryan, inside the app. Let's see. What are everyone's sources of fiber? I love eating lots of steak and ground beef and usually have some broccoli or cauliflower with it so I don't get blocked up. But the gas that it gives is very annoying and I get tired of the bloating. Do I even need to eat that? I don't. So that's just my personal take. I don't eat broccoli or cauliflower and you won't get backed up. That's a big myth. People that eat carnivore, they're not going to poop. That's just not true. When you're eating fiber, you're not digesting it. So when you're eating more meat and stuff, you just don't have as much waste. You utilize more of it. So fiber is definitely not essential. That's a big myth. Now I get plenty of fiber. I have fruit. There's plenty of fiber in that. So You eat some fruit, you get some fiber, and most people are fine with what they normally eat, whether it's potatoes or rice and things like that. You can have some veggies if you want to, but you don't have to pound it to get fiber in. You're just eating things that can't be absorbed. And sure, you can have some slower absorption for blood sugar and things like that. But if you're making better choices, you shouldn't be pounding tons of processed sugars anyway. You shouldn't be processing or eating things that are impacting your blood sugar in that sense if you're not able to properly clear that. If you're lifting weights and you're exercising regularly, you're getting quality sleep, you're not going to have issues consuming carbohydrates. That's a big myth too. So most of the issues we have today are because of all the environmental factors, the poor food choices, the ingredients, and people aren't exercising. So they have no lean mass. No lean mass. So there's a lot of poisons and toxins on top of the lack of activity and lack of sleep and constant stress. There's a lot of reasons, and they all add up. But just in terms of this, I don't consume broccoli or cauliflower. So there's other choices out there, you know, and I'm more curious as to what else you're eating and things like that, and what you, in the context of that. So maybe you're not getting enough fat in your diet. So if you're not having as much fiber, fat will help mobilize you. But if you're eating steaks and stuff like that, you should be getting plenty of fat. If you're cooking with butter and you're eating eggs and things like that, you'll be getting plenty of fats anyway. So test these things out, see what works best for you. But if that's the goal for you, to eat some fiber, then you can get that from fruit and other sources. There's other issues that people have with broccoli or cauliflower. Also, the preparation method. Eating those things raw is brutal. And sometimes people like it if they're pressure cooked or steamed or sauteed. But I think you'll find if you tweak this here and there, you'll find other options that work much better for you. So there's nothing arbitrary about those foods that you're eating that needs to be consumed in that sense. I don't have any issues and I don't eat those particular foods, but if I go through all my nutrition, I'll get fiber. I just look at other sources for it. Do anyone else's suggestions? What do you consume, and do you have any issues? Or if you have issues, what would solve that? So it might also be a magnesium deficiency. So actually, let's go back to this a little bit. People that maybe get backed up, something like a magnesium glycinate can help tremendously. It could be hydration, electrolytes if you're getting, quote, blocked up. So there's a lot of other issues for motility that are possible. And the human body is a complex system, so it's not the same exact reason in every person. It's just a confluence of what you're doing, and then some things could be out of balance on an individual basis. So there's a lot of things that could be the reason for it, but you have to look at it from an individual standpoint. That's important. Yes, humans are very similar in a lot of ways, but there could be a lot of reasons for that kind of irregularity with bowel movements and such. All right, we'll get into a couple more questions when we get into the knowledge cock, which is imminently. We're getting into it in a moment. Tyler says plan A, and he's got a pin in a machine. So cool. All right, cool. You're at the gym. Simple picture, a weight stack. Okay. All right. I'm not sure why that's in my folder, but let's get into some rate my meal. Cool. Rate my meal. And then we'll get into some questions. First one today is from Freddie. Freddie, bacon wrapped pork loin with plum berry demi glaze, seared lamb chops, wild mushroom risotto, sauteed asparagus. So are you making this yourself? That's very fancy. That's very fancy. Bacon wrapped pork loin. All right. So very fancy meal. Very fancy meal. Good job. Freddie's a chef over here. Un chef. Michael. This is a snack. Tuna.
What the fuck is that? Inconceivable!
Tuna and cottage cheese with some pepper. Nah, get the fuck out of here, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
Emotional, damn it.
Get the fuck out of here. What the fuck? The only thing I can think of worse is, and that's on some kind of toast. All right. Okay. I think I'm getting trolled now because, we're having jokes with the cottage cheese shit. Who is mixing tuna fish with cottage cheese? Is that a new thing or is that something that I've just heard about now? And I feel like someone's mentioned it before. I am, in all my years on this planet, I am always, it's nice to be impressed. Wow, I've never heard that. Wow, I didn't know people did that. In all my years with hearing things with food, I didn't realize how many things, I really didn't. I didn't realize how many things people put cottage cheese into. I underestimated the cottage cheese obsession in this country. I really underestimated it. Ever since we started doing Rate My Meals and posting them, because these are from Facebook. These are from the Facebook, the Greater Swole fam. These are from people that are... but I didn't realize how many things people really use cottage cheese like it's a Lego. They really put it in a lot of stuff. I didn't understand how many things people... I didn't understand how many things people do with cottage cheese. I'm impressed, I would say. It's gross, but I'm a little bit impressed. It's pretty vile, but I'm impressed. All right, Mike. Let's see what we got here. Mike is a rabbit or something. It also looks like Mike is eating... It looks like Mike is eating on one of those baby changing tables in a upscale bathroom. It looks like you ordered some sort of... It looks like you went to some sort of weird seafood, but they do mimosas for a brunch. So they just kind of give you guys what's left over. So you have like some sort of seafood stew with just a ear of corn in it for whatever reason. And then you have some leftover nachos and some avocado with, I don't know what the fuck, you're just eating chips with an avocado and a bowl of rice. Like, what the hell are you eating, dude? What is that? And why are you eating in a bathroom on a baby changing table? That's what it looks like. It looks like you're in, you folded down one of those baby changing tables in a bathroom. But it's got that backsplash, that little faux granite or marble or whatever in the background, makes me think that it's, a nice place. How are you eating that corn? It's wet and stuff. Are you eating with a spoon? What are you doing with this? Where's the food? Mike, the fastest way for me to know that you're not making any gains is you're eating that. Like, seriously, what the shit is that, dude?
What the fuck is
Where's
that?
the protein? Or what are you eating? Mohammed Kalfi. That's some salmon. Looks like we got some taters and some green beans and corn. So I'll take the salmon and the potatoes.
So I'll take the tea without the covert diabetes delivery mechanism, please.
I'll take that. You can leave the green and yellow. You can keep the microwave vegetables. All right, so this is why it's on. This is why it's on Rate My Plate or Rate My Meal. These are your meals for a reason. Shiloh, Yaakov Ben Yosef, got all the names. Is that some beef and some sweet potatoes? All right, okay. All right. Fuck yeah! All right. There we go. 7,000 for that post. Sweet. Tyler, OMAD for me right now. Down 54 pounds in 2 months. Yeah, that was a well done steak. But anyway, steak on a plate. Instead of snakes on a plane, steaks on a plate. That was a shirt we had. Down 54 pounds in 2 months. So we have some sort of salad and greens, and I don't know what that thing is on the right. Is that yogurt? That's a weird thing. But we have a big steak on a plate. So we got, a third of this screen is pretty good. Okay. All right. Let's move on. These meals are kind of making me a little bit nauseous. Let's get into some questions. Hashtag Ask Papa Swole, drop in the comments. We'll get some questions. So if you ask questions earlier, make sure you drop it below. As questions come in, anyone that has any, we'll get into some Instagram questions. I'm still shocked. At how many people put cottage cheese with tuna fish. I didn't know that was a thing. Seriously, everything is cottage cheese. I see green beans are making a comeback. Green beans have had no place. As much as I, talk about carrots and broccoli or Brussels sprouts, green beans are right up there. Green beans, I don't even consider a food. So I don't even give the attention to green beans because you just don't see them that much. Just green beans, canned green beans. It doesn't even register for me to dislike them. I'm like, oh, should I use emotion against green beans? Oh, I forgot about those. It's what are we eating for? What are we eating that for? What are we eating for that for? Like, when does that ever taste good? It doesn't. It never tastes good. I'm waiting for someone to mix and be like, well, what's on my plate? Well, today I'm eating cottage cheese and green beans. And I mashed it together and I put in a scoop of whey protein. And it looks like yogurt. All right. Let's get into some questions. Here we go.
What's in the box?
First one. This one's from Sean02 1105. I am fasting, dieting, going to gym, and doing cardio 3 times per week. Why I still have a belly? Because you're doing stupid shit.
Matt Damon.
You're fasting. Well, you're starving yourself, so let's make some gains. You need to eat food to build muscle. Dieting, that doesn't mean anything to me. It means you think you're doing something, but you're probably doing it wrong. So dieting does not mean the same thing to everyone. That's a vague term. Going to gym. Most people go to the gym and don't do anything worthwhile. So that's a start. You're going to the gym, but the front desk, the receptionist works at the gym too. She goes to the gym, but she goes there to work. So just because you're in the building doesn't mean you're doing the right shit. And doing cardio 3 times per week. That's irrelevant to having a belly. It really is. Cardio's fine. Cardio's great. There's benefits. It's much more important to build muscle. Literally been talking about this for a decade since we started the show because we're coming up on 10 years completely of the Daily Swole. You need to build muscle. It's very easy to get cardio. It's very easy to build that back. It's very easy to start walking more and increasing your cardiovascular capacity. It's very tedious and it takes a long time to build muscle. It takes a long time to build muscle. You don't see people that are cardio bunnies building muscle. You can see a lot of people that build muscle and then get more into doing and improving their cardiovascular capacity. But this is why I always say the primary focus should be muscle building, because then you could get back into bouncing. You could do skipping. You could do jump roping. You can do sled work. You could do plyometrics. You could do ball slams. You could do high impact and high intensity cardio. And you could really get your cardio up without sacrificing your muscle mass and doing long-term duration endurance training and stuff that fatigues you and sacrifices muscle mass over time and can lead to a lot of impact injuries. And we see this all the time with running on pavement and blah, 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 blah. And people that obsess with things like Orange Theory and CrossFit and these modalities that focus way too much on cardio and not enough on just focus on strength training and proper nutrition, other lifestyle habits. So this is why customize your life, focus on the most important things, and focus on the things that move the needle most. What's going to make the biggest difference? This is why the 7 pillars is not the 15 pillars, not the 25 pillars. There's a lot of things that are broken down from those 7 pillars. But when it comes to your life, you want to do the things that are going to move the needle the most. You want to spend the attention on the things that are going to give you the most benefit. This is why we keep it simple. It's food quality. Forget counting, forget measuring every last thing, because who wants to just measure everything on a scale? You need to really understand what you're eating and what the ingredients are. And then it's much easier to adjust your choices. And guess what? When you focus on the ingredients, you're going to eat a lot simply. You're going to eat much more simply because you're going to be cooking a steak or ground beef in a pan. Put a little salt, maybe some pepper, whatever, like lightly season it. You just salt, really. Eat some fucking food, just like really good quality food. Learn how to cook. And then you're only eating just what you're eating. You don't need tons of seasonings. You don't need tons of frills. You just need to fucking fuel up. And if you're eating proper fuel, you don't need a lot of it. You need much less than you think you do. And guess what? You realize you're overeating for the energy expenditure. Oh, you realize you don't have to eat a gram per pound of body weight. That's ridiculous. Why are you eating for your fat? You're eating too much food. And because people are trying to get in more food than they really need, or they can get from whole ingredients, they use supplements and they get a lot of other things like heavy metals and artificial flavorings and fillers, and they shortcut and they eat protein cookies because they're hungry, but they just can't get enough fucking protein in because it's just ridiculous. Keep it fucking simple, man. Seriously, you don't have to do carnivore, but if you just eat meat and eggs, just focus meat and eggs. Just eat that. You're going to be full. And you're not going to want more meat and eggs until you're actually hungry again. And you realize, oh shit, I'm not as hungry as I think. How many times do people start drinking electrolytes? They start hydrating properly and then realize, wow, I'm not as hungry as I thought I was. I'm just thirsty all the time. And I'm not sleeping. So I just am chronically exhausted. So I have these sugar cravings because I need to pick me up. And I'm drinking caffeine before I open my eyes because I'm exhausted. Yeah, you have to really start with better habits. It's everything else. Simplify your life. Simplify your life. It's not about what you add. Again, stop thinking about what to add. Think about what to take away, what to minimize, what to eliminate. Again, eliminate people, eliminate foods, eliminate bad habits, eliminate, extra steps. Just simplify your life. The more you simplify your life, your wants, desires, your focus, your expectations, doesn't mean don't shoot for the moon and push yourself, but it means get rational, get actionable, and simplify all the things you don't need. It always comes back to the pillars, always comes back to the foundation. Go back and focus on the roots again, and then hammer it again and hammer it again and automate that. And then you could focus on all those other things. You get that locked in. You don't have to worry about, you want to automate it so it can just run in the background. And eating quality foods and getting sun and exercising, that can just be a standard. Then everything else will fall into place. Life's going to come and go. There's going to be tragedies. There's going to be sunrises and sunsets and all those things. You have to anchor yourself. And you feel so much better, and you feel better about yourself. And it's just an anchor. It's your peace. It's investing in yourself and your future. Simple, simple, simple. Everything. And technology is great. Technology is great. I love technology. I use it for business, and technology has given all of us a lot of things. But it can also take away if you don't use it to simplify, because technology allows you to be more productive in some ways, but also sucks a lot of your time if you're not careful. So as much as you can use technology to amplify your production and amplify your creation, amplify your communication, amplify how many things you get done, it can also just suck all your free time and creativity. So you have to use it actively and then distance yourself and focus on your thing and allow yourself to have peace, allow yourself to have quiet, allow yourself to have that kind of freedom just to stare at a fucking wall, literally, or go look at some trees. That's why I'm outside all the time. Just pay attention to more important things, the fundamentals. It's less important whether or not you're eating 200 grams of steak or 250 grams of steak than is this rotting, dead, antibiotic pumped, vaccine injected meat? Is this garbage fucking meat? Is this soy meat, or is this actual steak? That's more important than, well, I had 2 more bites. Trust me, if it's good quality food, eat as much as you fucking want. You're not gonna be able to overeat it. Now, if you're combining it with all sorts of other shit like sodas and fries, yeah, you'll overeat. But that's because you're mixing in all these other signals that get in empty calories. And empty calories meaning ultra processed energy that your body does not need and can't process efficiently. Let's do Hayden. Best bicep workout I should add to my workout. There's no best bicep anything, but I would recommend. We talked about this actually for those of you that didn't. How many of you checked out yesterday's the weekend Swolosophy? Talked about accessories. We talked about forearm training, very important, grip strength. We talk a lot about that. I do a ton of forearm training. It's very important. Pronation, supination, rice bucket. We've talked a lot about this to reduce injuries, but it's just the weakest link. So you'll compensate less neck injuries, elbow, shoulder, if you have stronger grip strength. Because if you can't lift something, you're compensating with other aspects of your body. and you're putting more constant stress on other things that can get tweaked and overused in compensations and movement impairments. So getting back to this best bicep workout, if you want big arms, you just need some sort of elbow flexion. So I would recommend that people have some sort of a reverse or a hammer curl in their program because you want to work that brachioradialis, just a preacher curl. So a preacher curl is great. You could do hammer preacher curl or you could do supinated preacher curls, but a preacher curl in any respect, whether it's hammer or supinated, is great because you'll just target with a free weight. Now there's certain machines that can be loaded differently, and there's certain preacher curl bicep machines on a cable that will distribute the stress differently, but just with free weights, a preacher curl is fantastic just because of the different angle. You could do this on an incline bench, you could do this on a preacher bench. So I wouldn't say that's the best, but that's a good one that most people have access to. Even if you don't have access to machines, you have access to free weights. And if you have free weights on a bench, you can do it at home or anywhere. So not everyone has not everyone has a bicep machine, but some gyms might just have a preacher machine on a cable, but it doesn't mean just because it's a preacher position, and this is the big misconception, just because it's a preacher machine, if it's on a weight stack, doesn't mean that the strength profile is the same as a free weight preacher. It could be worse, or it could be better. It depends. But usually it's not as good because based on the pulleys, where the machine will distribute the stress, the benefit of a preacher is that when the arms are in front of the body like that, and it was slightly angled, then the tension is where the biceps are going to be more lengthened. So if you're standing up, the tension's more at the top in the shortened position. Nothing wrong with a standing curl or a standing hammer curl. So standing hammer curls are great because the brachioradialis is going to be hit real hard at 90 degrees, but the biceps and the brachioradialis is underloaded at the bottom of the movement. So a lot of times people have to swing a little bit. It's just a weird position, but that's great for the shortened position. But then if you really want to target the biceps or the brachioradialis a little bit more, you can use a preacher position. And you could do that with cables. You could do that with free weights. You could do that with the machine, but preacher is great. So if you're not doing a preacher curl, you're missing out. For your biceps, preacher curls are great. And then all the details, whether you want a straight bar or you want neutral grip, those are all different. And of course, if you really want to work, so up here, the brachioradialis, this muscle, if you want big arms and big forearms, that's important. You can hit that with a reverse curl or a hammer curl. And that's really all you need. But again, you just got to get stronger over time. So if you can load that and keep the form the same, just get stronger over time, you will get bigger. It's that simple. It's just not glamorous. Hey, do that for years. All right, Jerry Smith, Pompasolio, what's the elimination diet? Well, funny you should ask. All right, well, briefly explain it. If you want to check it out, join us over at swolenormousx.com. We have that in the app, and that's our foundational approach for customizing and individualizing your nutrition. So fundamentally, you eliminate food, and you could do a complete elimination. You could do partials. You could do individual. Most people coming in should do pretty much a full elimination, but this is something you're always doing. So you remove foods for X period of time, usually 4 to 8 weeks, usually 6 to 8 weeks is even better. So you remove certain categories of food that might be causing you issues. So it really depends on the individual because some people have issues with eggs. Some people think they have issues with eggs, but it's because they're eating low quality eggs. Some people have issues with chicken, but it's because they're eating low quality chicken. Some people have issues with beef, but it's because they're eating low quality beef. Or they're having issues with all those types of foods because their body is already in a state of like high acidity, right? You have acid reflux. You currently have issues. This is what I dealt with like long time ago. And then when I cleared all of that out and I came back to eating quality meats and things like that, I never got it again. So it was really just compounded over time. I already had issues. So all these foods, like the meats that I thought were causing me problems, they were, but it wasn't the fact that they were meat. It's the fact that I was eating all these other things too. I already had issues, and then the quality wasn't there. So the elimination diet is essentially the process of testing which foods work best for your body. And then you keep going with that. So if I'm going through my life and there's certain foods that I eat, and if I test something, I'll be like, wow, I didn't feel good when I had that. Oh, maybe I didn't feel good when I had that, or a combination of these things, or at this time of day. I'm always observing, and then I adjust accordingly. And I know which foods will be good, and some foods, okay, I'm not going to eat that because I know that fucks me up. I don't care if someone thinks it's a health food. I don't care if someone else eats it. I don't care if whatever it is, if it doesn't feel good for my body, I'm not going to consume it. If I have something and I get crazy bloating and gas, I'm not going to eat it just because I don't want to feel like shit. It doesn't really matter what the reason is. So in other words, you keep on testing and you'll notice these things as you reset and you focus and you realize it's also the process of understanding that you're in control of your nutrition and you're your own scientist. And it's up to you to really test these things. And most people don't realize how much these foods affect their body until they do an elimination diet. So do an elimination diet, join the Swole fam. We have it all for you inside the app. You can learn more. We have membership specials going on right now. So join us. SwoleNumbersX.com. And it's awesome. I think I was going to ask something earlier. What's your focus? Actually, someone said focus is rear delts. What are you focusing on? Someone just drop in the comments. Drop it in the comments. What body part? I know some people are going to say, I'm training arms, legs, this. Yes, we all want to get bigger in most areas, right? But what's a certain area that you're focusing on the most? What's the bias in your training? Let's see here. Sterling, see a question earlier. Papa Swole, is there a meaningful difference between rope face pulls and rear delt flies on the pec deck? Thinking if I should alternate them or just drop one if they overlap too much. Well, they're not the same. They're different. I actually like, there are certain ways to do rear delts on the pec deck better. Single arm can be beneficial. It just depends on the pec deck. See, I like them on mine, but some pec decks have different strength curves, like when the tension is the greatest. So the issues with things like dumbbell or a lot of pec decks is the tension. The tension is least in the stretch position, and it's more when you're in a horizontal abduction. So for example, if you're on a bench and you're doing dumbbell, the tension's at the top, kind of like a lateral raise with dumbbells. So what I like to do is I have a cable machine and I do a crossbody cable. So the cable is like right here. I'm standing sideways. So it's the most tension when I'm in a lengthened position, and then I push kind of out. I'm not trying to push back. A lot of times when people do posterior deltoid, they go like this. And the problem is you're getting retraction. So you're getting your scapula involved. And if you're getting your scapula involved, you're not working your posterior deltoid. Not that you're not working it, but you're not mobilizing it. So the posterior deltoid is going to be till here. Anything like further back and you're pinching your shoulder blades, once you mobilize your scapula, you're hitting your rhomboids and your middle traps and stuff. So pull wide, pull out to the, you're trying to separate your arms, and that kind of cue keeps you from retracting backwards. So you're pulling wide. So when I go across, I go here and I go there. So there's less tension for me, like over here, but that's also when the posterior deltoid is going to have the least amount of leverage. So I'm maximizing it from that stretch position. So that's why I like to do if I'm trying to hit posterior deltoid. Particularly, I also like a long cable row with a wide the lat pull down bar. I like that angle, and I do upper back rows. So you're doing T-bar rows or an elbows flared upper back row, you're going to get your rear delts also. So if you're doing that kind of movement, you don't have to do. So for example, if you find you can do posterior deltoid, and you could sprinkle that in. So if that's a focus for you, if you're doing upper lower, you could also throw posterior deltoid like a couple sets before a leg day or something like that. So if you're trying to bring up that small area, that could be something that you throw first on a lower body day, for example. But the meaningful difference between rope face pulls is that when you're doing this, you're doing external rotation. So you're getting a little bit posterior rotator cuff more with face pulls because you're getting external rotation of the humerus. And then you're also going to be getting a little bit more retraction. So if you're doing rope face pulls, you'll get a little bit more upper trap and middle trap. And, you know, if you're coming up high, you might even get some lower trap too, because it's a little bit more like a Y, and you'll get scapular elevation. So you'll get the lower traps activating a little bit there. But rope face pulls are fine, but I never did rope face pulls to build my posterior deltoids. I did a lot of dumbbell work. I did a lot of cable work, like bent over cable or high-low cable, and single arm cable and reverse pec deck. So So in other words, if you want to train, and here's just like another thought, if you want to train your posterior deltoid more often, if you do an upper lower split, you can do an upper back row on the upper day. And then before legs, you could also do 1 or 2 sets of just posterior deltoid. So you can get a little bit more frequency without training them directly. You're going to get them on the upper back row and upper day, and then you can hit them with a couple direct sets before legs or something. So this is why when I do every other day in general, sometimes I'll do push pull leg, sometimes I'll do 2 days in a row, but usually I'll do an upper lower split. And I generally like to do 1 day between intense training, because on those in between days, I could do some cardio, I could do sauna, and I could do reverse sled, I could do some club swinging, I could do accessory stuff in between. But then if I want to do something every other day, 4 times a week, I can work that into my every other day. So I can do some forearms before legs or calves before upper body. And then, you can do maybe on my upper day or something, I don't want to do triceps because I want to do some other pressing. So I'll do triceps before legs. You can mix and match things too. So whatever you're trying to prioritize, you can also bias that. There's no rule that on a lower body day, you can't do upper body. So what are you focusing on? And then you really can only prioritize 2 or 3 body parts over the course of a split meaning doing it first in the workout, like first or second movement. You only have 1 or 2 slots in order to really prioritize it. So if you're trying to bring up a body part and you're thinking, I'm going to save the best for last. If you're trying to bring up a body part, don't train it at the end of your workout every time. Train it first. And just understand that you can't train everything first. So you have to pick certain things, bring it up, and then knock it down on the ladder. And rotate through. You don't always want to do the same things first unless you're really trying to bring up that body part. And you'll notice if you do upper body, you're always doing chest first. If you try doing back first, your back lifts will be so much stronger because you're fresher. And once you start playing around with that, you realize if you're doing an exercise 5th or 6th and it's always kind of like stagnant and struggling, it might not be the exercise. Move that first. It could be the choice of all those other exercises first. You move it first and wow, I really hit that PR. Yeah, you don't realize how much, even if you're only doing 1 or 2 sets for an exercise, how much fatigue you have after 3, 4, or 5 other exercises. You've probably done 6 or 8 sets already. There's a lot taken out of you. So if you're always hitting a wall, change the exercise order, do that movement first or earlier, and then you'll realize, oh, maybe I'm over fatiguing myself, or maybe I think I have more in the tank than I really do. Because you might not be out of breath. You might feel good and have a sick pump, but just neurologically, your body is a little bit more blasted. You're fatigued more than you realize. All right. More questions, drop them in the chat. Always want to bias towards live questions because when you're watching live, you can get instant feedback, and also you'll have more space to drop a question. Dr. Daniel, Papa, my quadratus lumborum muscle is starting to get better, but I want to know what you think is the best anti-inflammatory. Rest, cold plunging, sauna, mobilizing, heat packs, just practicing mobility. I'm sure some people might have suggestions for take turmeric, or I don't know what the hell people take for that kind of stuff, but creatine, magnesium, proper hydration. I don't take any anti-inflammatories. I wouldn't take any ibuprofen or Tylenol or anything like that. So I don't recommend any of those things. But I would say hot and cold. Cold plunging is great. It doesn't solve everything though. When it comes to inflammation, whether it's muscular or with your gut, when you remove things, the body wants to heal itself. So if you remove the stress, if you remove what is causing the inflammation, your body will heal itself. And this is just how everything works. You want to put your body in a better environment, whether it's with more mobility, more strength training, more corrective exercise, hot temperatures, cold temperatures, better food, better sleep, and then your body can heal. And it usually just takes time. You knew I would say turmeric. I'm not saying to take it. I don't take it. I just said, I think people take that kind of stuff. So I don't think that is like, you're going to take turmeric and your quadratus lumborum is going to feel better. So you have muscle spasming, and just understand that the quadratus lumborum, that muscle is a bitch. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. It's a tiny little muscle that attaches to like the bottom ribs. I'm not sure if it attaches to the spine, but I know it's like the lower ribs from the hip for lateral bending and some rotation. It's when you injure that muscle, you feel it doing everything. You feel it when you're laughing, when you're coughing, when you bend. It's just a small muscle that you need to stretch and strengthen. And when it's currently inflamed, it hurts when you do everything. You just have to deal with it. You got to chill. You got to relax yourself. Maybe some stretch, light stuff. I would do yin. There's a lot of great moves for the quadratus lumborum in the yin. Do like the spine or the yin twists or the lateral flexing. Is there a quadratus? I don't know if there's a quadratus lumborum class, but there's a lot of hips and twist yin classes. So I would look into that tremendously. That's what I did, or that's what I did, and what I've done with any kind of like deep stabilizer muscles. Because I've done that too. I've injured, I wouldn't say I injured, but I aggravated. I think it was my quadratus lumborum when I first started doing like deep and like hardcore yoga classes. Because when you go into all these like twists, and I was doing vinyasa and like level 2, and I'm sore in fucking places I never knew existed. And when those muscles get sore, you need rest, because it's just really hard, or you're very, very passive stretching and very passive mobilizing, because they're very sensitive and you feel it during everything. So it feels worse than it is. Because let's say you hurt your chest, right? Let's say you hurt your chest or your shoulder, you put in a cast or like a sling, you're like, okay, it hurts, but it's there. You're not standing on it. It's not supporting your spine, or it's supporting like 130 pounds of your body weight. When you move like a millimeter, it's like the crack of a foundation. You move a little bit and it's like, so it guards like crazy. Yeah, it sucks. I've had it. It sucks, but it goes away. But I would do things like yin. Do you have a sauna? Do you have the ability to do like a hot tub or something, soak, and then you could do some mobility and stretching, or take a hot shower and do some yin? Take a hot shower, like wear some warm clothes. I don't know what your area is, if it's hot where you are or cold, but you take a warm shower or like a warm bath and then do some mobility stretching. It can help tremendously. But any of those classes, like the glute awareness programs and these different things for lateral bending, you just got to start slow when you're inflamed. You can't just get on a 45-degree hyper and start doing lateral bending, of course. Sterling says, that's insightful. I usually, to lower, let's see, the low row, didn't think that I could do upper row and hit them too. Yeah, so when we go back to the upper row, I like that lat row. So I do an upper row and T-bar row. Anytime your elbows are here, look at this, posterior deltoid. Look at my upper arm, elbow to my shoulder, right? That's posterior deltoid, right? So let's say I'm doing an upper back row. Just my elbows are more bent, okay? There's no difference in my upper arm. So it's working the posterior deltoid. You're not necessarily isolating it. You're also doing the row and you're pinching back. So you're getting your middle traps. You're getting your upper a little bit, your lower traps a little bit, rhomboids, and the muscles between your scapula, which if you want a big back, you want to work that meat between your upper back. And you'll hit your posterior deltoid there also. If you need additional focused work, and you don't want to work on scapular retraction, you want to isolate your posterior deltoid, you don't want this movement where you're pinching all the way back. You want a movement where you're not pinching back, you're pushing wide and limiting that motion. That way you're isolating the posterior deltoid. But it's redundant. If you're doing an upper back row and posterior deltoid, it's just, you're hitting the same thing twice. You're just kind of beating a dead horse, in my opinion. Better to send it on the upper back row and on a separate day. I mean, you can do extra, but you probably don't need it. You could just do it on a different day. But when it comes to the quadratus lumborum muscle, it's something that it will go away, but you have to work through it. You need to mobilize and strengthen it, even with the pain and discomfort, even very, very lightly. because you're bending through. You just have to mobilize it. But right now it's inflamed, it's irritated, it's guarding, and all the other muscles around it are protecting, because anytime you hike and dip your hips, you're feeling it. So this is why I always talk about yoga. This is why we have all the mobility, because I'm telling you, and anyone that gets injured, it's too late. You already got hurt. And anyone that's injured always tells everyone, do not neglect your mobility. Do not neglect these things, because once you're injured, you're going to wish you did them. They're not glamorous. It's like, oh, side bending. It's not getting you jacked necessarily in your head. Like, oh, I'd rather do overhead pressing. But doing your club work, doing all this other shit will allow you to do your pressing harder and more often. The last thing you want to do, the quickest way to not get results is to get hurt. So we talk about forearm training, then people do crazy stuff with forearms and their elbows start hurting. Yeah, you did too much. You have to build up the volume. You have to build up the frequency. You can't go to failure with tiny little muscles that are going to get inflamed out of nowhere. And then your elbow hurts, then you can't curl, then you can't this. But if you do it properly, it's going to help everything get stronger and stronger. Practice your mobility. All right, hashtag swole and sexy. Ooh, yeah.
Because I work with retards.
Swole and sexy. That's right. Swole and sexy indeed. And we have Tainty Man in the church. All right, swole and sexy, drop in the comments. Ying, how to be fit like you. Join us, swolenormousx.com.
Hi, puppy.
And train for 30 years. Woot Deglin. Papa Solia, what is your opinion about the behind the neck shoulder press? Is it dangerous for injury? Great question. Great. Let's get a round of applause for a great question. Finally. I see a question on YouTube. We'll take that in a second too. What's your opinion about behind the neck shoulder press? Well, funny you should ask. I did them yesterday. So that's my opinion. They're great. They're awesome for the anterior and the middle deltoid. If you want to work your middle deltoid, and we've talked about this for a while, lateral raises, cool. Cable, cuff, lateral raise machines, great for the middle deltoid. You want middle deltoid, do an overhead press. Do shoulder press with your elbows adducted, not to the front. Do them wider, and you'll get the anterior deltoid and the middle deltoid a lot. So behind the neck shoulder press, great. I did it inside. I did it on the Smith machine. So I do on the Smith machine, wide grip. You don't have to come all the way down and touch your shoulders. You don't want to get too close because you don't want your forearms collapsing. But I have good shoulder mobility. If you don't have good shoulder mobility, you need to improve your shoulder mobility. Because if you have really rounded shoulders and you don't have good posture, and then you're trying to press behind the neck, yeah, you can fuck yourself up. But there's nothing inherently bad about behind the neck shoulder presses. Just most people have terrible shoulder mobility. So doing any kind of shoulder presses, oh my God, my shoulders could never, I can never do that. You have weak shoulders. When I do certain movements or sissy squats, oh, my knees could never. You have weak knees. Your knees could. You just don't strengthen and train your knees that way. I could do sissy squats because I've been practicing for a long time. I could do Jefferson curls. Oh my God, you're going to hurt your back? No, because I started off very, very light. I would have hurt my back if I went from 0 to 100, like anyone. If you've never been behind the wheel of a car and you get behind a NASCAR, you're going to drive off the fucking track and into the wall. Why? Because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So if you have terrible mobility, it's dangerous. So there's a lot of movements that are dangerous for certain people because they don't have the capacity to do them, but you have to go where you are. So if you practice mobility, you're doing wall presses, right? And stuff behind, or like prone presses and floor cobras and stuff. And you start very, very light with a bar, like a wood dowel, and you practice and you just strengthen that. And you go with 5 pounds. Of course you could build into doing that. Absolutely. And dead hangs, right? Dead hangs, so important. Club work, all these things, very important. So saying something, is it dangerous for injury? That depends on, it could be anything. Everything is dangerous. Walking down the sidewalk is dangerous. You can tell people not to walk. We shouldn't have guns because some crazy people shoot people with guns. No shit. No shit. And guns also save a lot of people's lives from home invaders. And a lot of cars, we shouldn't have cars because people get into accidents. Okay. You ban guns, you ban cars. Well, what about knives? Some people kill people with knives. Okay, then we ban knives. Well, then some people kill people with bats. Can't have a stick anymore. Where's it go? So there's danger everywhere. There's danger everywhere. You go outside, you might have There could be something that falls from the sky and kills you. A tree branch can fall and kill you. Someone could just drive off the street. You could be walking down the street and get hit by a car. So it wasn't the walking that was dangerous. It was chance, and shitty things fucking happen. Shitty things happen. So not to get too far off the topic, but is it dangerous for injury if you do it wrong or you don't progress properly? But there's really no movement that the human body, there's no movement that is dangerous. You see some people like, oh my God, they're doing stretching and they're like bending inverted. Some people have hyperlaxia in their joints, and some people won't be able to do that. But wherever you are right now, you could absolutely get closer to that goal, right? If you're trying to do, maybe you can't do a Jefferson curl past your toes, but you can touch the ground. And then maybe you get, 1 centimeter below your toes. That's still better than where you were, right? You're improving. So it's dangerous relative to what your capacity and your preparation, your execution is. So no, it's not dangerous for some people that have, if you have poor mobility, you're doing it wrong and you go too heavy and you've never done it before and you go too heavy and, ow, my shoulder. Is it really dangerous, or were you just retarded? And sometimes with all the preparation things, maybe you do it too soon, but there's nothing inherently wrong with the movement. Anyway, you don't have to go behind the neck. You can go in front, with a high incline, and then you can always, because the thing is, if you're doing this, you have to move your head back. It's just an awkward movement. So what I like is that I have my bench on a high incline. I don't know what the degree is, 80 degrees or something, because my Smith machine is angled. So I have it angled so I'm pushing back away from me. So this is where behind the neck pressing, kind of having the angle is actually kind of cool, because I'm on a high incline and I'm almost, so it's kind of like the hammer strength shoulder press where I'm leaning back a little bit and I'm kind of have a back angle. So it's coming towards me and then I'm pushing it back behind me. So it really kind of locks me into the bench a little bit more rather than I have to go straight up ahead, straight up and down, which is fine too. And I like the Smith machine for the behind the neck press because I don't have to worry about the movement of the bar. I also have an overhead shoulder press machine, but the one that I have kind of goes a little bit more to the front, which is fine. But I like the one when it goes behind me a little bit. The Smith machine is really nice for that. I like it. I like it. So in other words, if you want to, that kind of movement, you get a lot of that lateral or medial deltoid. So anterior deltoid and middle deltoid. All right, let's go into balls deep. Let's do a video. Actually, we got a question. Let's see. That's one deep. More. In your opinion, what's the best way to strengthen pelvic floor muscles? And is there any exercise to avoid? For reference, I'm almost 35 and I had 4 babies in 8 years. Youngest is 1 now. Kegels, drawing in maneuver, all those bracing, Kegel movements. We have pre and postnatal yoga inside Swolenormous X. So we have that. Also, if you're interested, and that there's a lot of that in the postnatal yoga classes. But glute strengthening, glute awareness, Swollen 7 core, all those things are very important. But a lot of the glute awareness and the postnatal yoga is excellent for the pelvic floor. Practice your Kegels, ladies. We have shirts for that too. All right, let's get into a video, and then we'll do a couple new releases. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this one's gnar. We'll do this one first. This one's called Internalize. We'll do Internalized Fat Phobia, and then we'll do some releases. We'll have a... What's in the box? I don't put these in the folder for anyone that's just watching. We watch some nasty stuff, and then we watch some funny stuff.
I didn't realize how much internalized fat phobia I had until I started transitioning. I never thought about the size of my body when I used to present as a man. Tell me why, only after a couple short years of transitioning, the idea of shrinking my body consumes me every day. So I'm very aware that this gives the vibes of man wakes up to what women have been saying for years.
Ooh, boy.
Every word of it was absolutely true.
Your soft, flat triangle that the world never zooms in on.
I just figured out what women are going to. All right. New inside this enormous app. Ooh. Oh my God. Some people love this. A Ninja Creamy Mango Sorbet. Ooh. Aww. I wonder where this came from. I know who put this in there. Anyone have a Ninja Creamy? I've heard good things. I don't know if there's plastics involved with it. I mean, hopefully it's all stainless steel, but probably not. Anyway, mango sorbet. This time of year, it's cold. It's freezing outside, but if you like ice cream, there's an option. A lot of people I've heard good things. We also have Morning Flow Express with Rachel. Swollen 7 Steel Club round 2. And we have, oops. Oh, so that wasn't, we'll just go right into the yoga class because we're missing a feature release. But new yoga for this week, deep recovery for back with props. So this is actually pretty, pretty convenient. So we have a couple feature releases. Those were already available, and those are the spotlight class for this week. But this is a new yoga class. So Daniel was asking about the quadratus lumborum. So new class inside Swolenormous X. Join us, swolenormousx.com. Deep recovery for back with props. So you see this position. If you don't have a bolster, get a bolster. You can get a pillow. But these movements are fantastic. And you can see the lateral bending. See how it's a deep, gentle stretch. So these are things that obviously are going to allow you to passively, ease and melt into these postures. So this is a great lateral bend, a gentle lateral bend. So I would definitely give this a look. And with any of the classes, you can look through and scan through and see if there's any poses that are coming up that maybe would irritate you, and you can pay attention or pause the video and get into that position slowly. And that's very important too, because you can stream these to your TV. It's a really good strategy to pause a video. You don't have to keep up with the video. If you need to be like, oh, I need to move, pause, and then you move over and you see where you're going, and then you kind of get in and you hit pause it, play again. You can always do that. But you can see from this position, it's not necessarily titled a yin class, but deep recovery for back with props. And this is why props don't make it easier. It actually makes it better. So you don't want to think about props being something that regresses a class. And a lot of times we'll say, oh, here's a regression. Use a block. A block is just a tool. It's a tool to help you get into the proper form based on your body and based on your limb length. So sometimes it has nothing to do with how mobile your joint is. Maybe your hips are mobile, but in order to keep your back flat, you can't, because you can't reach the ground because your arms aren't long enough and your back wouldn't be flat if you touch the ground. So you bring a block up, and then because your hips are perfectly mobile, you bring the ground up essentially to your hand by using a block, and now your back can stay flat, and then you can rotate it properly. So you get more out of a class. Deep recovery for back with props. So good stuff. All right. So we'll do merch last. So let's do another video. We'll do merch last. We have another announcement we talked about a little bit on Swole Slut Saturday. Follow up on YouTube. Kegels, ha ha ha. That's the only thing my doc said. Yeah, it's an easy cop out too. Doctors are like, do some Kegels. And you have to look it up and do it yourself. I was meaning more than that. Good to hear about the gluten, the glutes. I'll look into that. Thanks. Well, when you say more than that, there's really not much more, to be honest. When you talk about pelvic floor muscles, there's slight movement, but you're squeezing. You can't isolate those muscles. You can't so when you're talking about intrinsic core stabilizers, it's not like you can just contract them and move them. You could draw on your belly. You can, contract your bulbospongiosis. You can contract your sphincter, and you can contract you do your Kegels and stuff. But aside from that, it's putting your body in different positions where those muscles might be more active, right? You're doing planks, you're doing glute bridges and holding and pulses. So it's really about putting your body into certain spinal positions where those will fire, rather than targeting them directly in that sense, because they're always going to be working as a proxy to something else. But there's a lot of good things there's a lot of good things with the glutes because while you're doing those and while you're doing those movements, you're working in multiple planes of motion, lateral stabilization, and things like that. So good for you. Congratulations on your family. Sterling says, my kid got his Pumpachoo shirt. He loves it. My wife says it's a bit creepy, though. Ha! Good. Good. You know it's good when it's a little bit creepy. All right. We'll do some funny ones after this one. We'll do one more. This one's called Pity Right-Wingers. Let's see what this happens. Let's see what happens after this one. But we have some other lighthearted ones. We got some new releases, so let's watch one more train wreck.
I think I kind of pity right-wingers.
My ears.
Because they're so fucking boring, you know? Like, imagine not really having any curiosity about deeper and more expansive concepts. Everything's just like handed to them and they go, oh, okay, like my grandpappy didn't like black people, so I guess I don't either. Like, it's so fucking boring. Like, no real exploration of what it means to be a person or meeting other people outside of your sad, boring, hateful little bubble. I think it's kind of sad. It's a little pitiful. I'm so glad I don't have to be like that. You should be glad you don't have to be like that. As you move forward in your day, when these people are making you want to absolutely scream, and I get it because they make me want to absolutely scream, I want you to think to yourself, thank goodness I'm not that fucking boring. Because that would suck, right? It seems like it would suck. Anyway, have a good day, bye.
Ew, I never liked that.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
You can always tell at the end, like, okay, have a good day, bye-bye. That fake little, like, okay, that's all I have to say, bye-bye. The question is, not if, but how many antidepressants? How many antidepressants is it on?
They never lie.
Elizabeth says, I'm so glad I'm not retarded. Yeah.
I work with retards.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to have triple digit IQs? It's nice. All right, before we get into more, fam, we talked about it on Swole Saturday,
What's in the box?
which was 35-37. Roundtable 96 this Friday, January the 16th at 9:30 a.m. Rise and Swole with the fam. Rise and Swole. That's the technical term. Rise is Swole. Rise is Swole. Rise is Swole. Rise and Swole. It's a RAS. R-A-S. Rise and Swole this Friday. So the first RT of the year. Let's fucking go. Let's go. So we'll have our last live show in the week on Thursday, and then we'll have a roundtable on Friday. Don't miss out. Join us over at swolenormousx.com, and you can ask questions. We'll shoot the shit. And you know what is really great about roundtables and stuff? If you don't have this kind of community in your inner circle, I mean, how many people, whether it's real life or on the phone, I mean, some of you have close friends. I mean, it's fine. I'm not saying that you don't have friends, but just to hang out and talk about whatever. So this is not some sort of pre-planned event in the sense, like everyone hops in. If you can make it, you hop in, you hop out, you talk shop, you talk about a movie you saw. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever, just free-flowing conversation. So there's really no agenda. If you do have questions about fitness or life or anything, people ask questions or vent. So it's always a little bit different. Different people show up and we kind of bounce them around different times, different days. So this one's a Rise and Swole. And of course, we'll have many more this year. So it's a good time just to come and hang out. And not a lot of people just go and just hang out and talk about anything. You know, there's no agenda. It's not some sort of work call or going over posts or anything like that. So if you don't know and never been to one, you log into the Zoom call, you come up on stage or you put in the background, just listen, and everyone just hangs out. So it's cool. It's cool. And they're also saved. So they're recorded. And then if you can't watch it live or listen live, you can always catch up later. So it's a good time. This Friday, the 16th, 9:30 a.m. So first one of the year. Let's go. 96. We're coming up on Hundo. Coming up on Hundo. All right, we'll save the gross one for last. This one's called Picking Up a Friend.
What's in the box?
And the screen, I have to read this because in case you're just listening, it says picking up your friend. All right, you ready? Picking up your friend whose family was mangled to death in a transforming transformer. Picking up your friend whose family was mangled to death in a transforming transformer, like Transformer meaning the movie. You know, the cars change into the Autobots and shit like that.
Oh, dude, it's not one of those cars. You don't know for sure.
It just cracked me up when I saw it the other day. So this guy is getting into the car and his friend like rolls down the window and he's like really paranoid. It's not one of those cars. You don't know for sure. It's so funny. It's so niche. So picking up your friend whose family was mangled to death in a transforming transformer. I'm just gonna play it again because it's good.
Oh, dude, it's not one of those cars. You don't know for sure.
He doesn't know for sure. You never know. There's a lot of multiple universes in all this theory. So technically, it's just like Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. Technically, there's a chance that car will turn into an Autobot. James says, come on, the car is in yellow. Get in. Come on, get in the car.
Every word of it.
Nice.
Absolutely true.
What kind of car was it? Was it a Camaro? Is it a yellow Camaro? Come on. I don't see Megan Fox in the front seat. Then if prime Megan Fox was in the car, that shit's transforming. And you're not going to care. When we say Transformers, everyone was like, oh, here we go. Everyone expected like the tyrannical tuck, right?
I don't work with the males because I used to be one.
Oh, Transformers. His family was mangled to death in a Transformer. It's like
there's Tiny Tuck, Typical
maybe
Tuck,
that's a tyrannical
Total Tuck, and the Tyrannical Tuck.
Maybe that was a tyrannical tuck. Yeah, she was really skinny then. She was really skinny. Really skinny. No, but I don't know. Just not enough meat. Not enough meat on the bones. Need some cushion. Not too much. Yeah, it was just, that was the Megan. All right, let's do it. Let's bring it up. The Megan Fox. Let's see. Megan Fox Transformers. This is like the kind of, this whole thing. That's like when you would bend forward and it's like, that's not an ass. That's just your ilium, that's your sacrum. That's not a butt. There's no butt there. That's just like, she didn't have a butt. She didn't have a butt. It was just, it was, look. So this is the scene that we're just like, right? It's just, there's no butt there. It was just leg. It's just like it goes down because your leg is pointed down. So, this is before, what year was that? Was that like 2000 or 99 or 2003 or some shit? That wasn't really a big, I wouldn't say that was like the transition to the more butt era. You had Sir Mix-a-Lot and all that stuff. So Baby Got Back. But when we talked about back in the day, what was it? Baby Got Back. I don't think Baby even got any back. Sir Mix-a-Lot. Even those, let's look at this. Oh, we're going to go down memory lane. Look at this dude. You're going to tell me those chicks have asses? Holy shit. People got fat. Look at this. Look at this dude. What are you pointing at, bro? Those chicks are like 115. They're not even like $110. No way. I didn't expect to go down this rabbit hole. He's acting like those girls had booties. Where's that zoom in? This guy don't know. He's even Sir Mix-a-Lot. My whole life was my whole life a lie? You know, I understand that we went off the gold standard in 1971 and Federal Reserve and whatnot. But you're going to tell me that this is Baby Got Back? Holy shit. What the fuck? Those look like 12-year-old boys. Not that I would know. What is that? What is that? Those look like... That looks like, I don't know, that looks like the group of people, the group of like the gang kids that just go into like a convenience store. 30 people just run into a Buc-ee's and just steal everything. No way, man. Baby Got Back? Baby doesn't even have back. My whole life is a lie. If you go back and look at this, you realize what they took from us. They didn't... Look at this. What are you pointing to, dude? Baby got back. Nothing. Oh my God. There's not even an ass. Baby got back. No, she don't. Baby don't. Baby got nothing. Megan Fox has more cake than that. Megan Fox is like a pastry. She got no cake. Yeah, look at those asses. There's nothing. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. All right. We're going to do the merch last because it's awesome. We're doing one more video. Speaking of horrifying, this one's bad, but not like, I'm a man, but I'm pretending to be a woman. I have a penis. This is called Hot Dog Pack, but it's not that kind of hot dog. It's not that kind of. No, it's not that. It's not that.
Your soft, flat triangle that the world never zooms in on.
No.
Are there any women here today?
Different kind of hot dog. This is gross.
So we're going to come back in a few minutes, and the motherfucker's going to be bubbling inside the pack. So, just stand by. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, y'all, we back. So, you can see the edges of the wrapper is burning. That is okay, as long as it ain't like melting, you're fine. But if we zoom in, you see it's gonna be juicing and bubbling on the inside. It's gonna be cooking this hot dog on the inside of the pack. So in a few seconds when we return after this short break, you're going to see all the little bubbles.
This guy just figured out how to boil a hot dog.
Absorbed and sucked inside of the hot dog. So just stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, now check this out. Get your phones ready. Start screen recording. Do whatever you got to do because this shit finna be epic, boy. It's going to be some shit you ain't never seen before.
I've never seen that before.
Look,
I have never seen it before.
Pack, you see the juices. It's bubbling. It's cooking. It's filling up with juices. So when you bite into it, it's so juicy. So look at it. Just look at it. Don't worry about the edges being burnt. It's okay. It's not going to penetrate the pack. I promise you. And bam, there you have it. Perfectly cooked. Don't worry about the outside, y'all. The outside don't mean shit. Perfectly cooked hot dogs. Juicy as fuck.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at it. He's like, yeah, don't you worry about that. The plastic is just melted to the hot dogs.
Don't worry about the outside.
I don't think this is a joke. Man, this can't be a joke because you wouldn't even put that on a grill next to other foods. I don't think it made them any less edible. That's the most depraved, gnarly shit I've seen in a long time. I mean, I will say that I am relatively impressed that it didn't stick completely to the hot dogs. That's kind of impressive, which is also frightening that the plastic didn't stick to the hot dogs. Are you listening to me? Or are we on the same page here? I mean, forget this. Holy shit. What is that plastic made out of that it doesn't even stick to the hot dogs? Like, that just peels right off. Which is more impressive, that this guy thought that this was a good idea, or that the fact that it didn't even stick to the hot dogs? Which means, what the fuck are those hot dogs made of? What are they coated in? And what the fuck is in that plastic? How is that not just... Any kind of plastic would just shrivel and just melt right to it. I mean, I guess it could just melt and steam right off. I don't know. I don't know. I never done it before. So maybe this is normal. Maybe this is normal behavior for plastic. That's so depraved. Everyone's the comments are all like, that's some Section 8 shit right there. Karen, Mark, Section 8 EBT right here. That's just... Yeah, this is next to people that are cooking in the dishwasher, right? They cover up the thing and they put a steak in there. This is vile. This is disgusting. I was expecting worse. There's no way that should have not stuck to the hot dogs. That's disgusting. I feel violated. I want mayonnaise. That's some hood shit right there. Okay, speaking of hood shit, fam, who's ready for merch? Merch. Before we go over merch, we do have an announcement. Not only do we have new merch today, we have tapestries over at papaswolio.com. If you didn't know, head on over to papaswolio.com, buy one, get one 50% off, which means you get 50% off tapestries. That's right. We have coverings in every style, in every shape that you could possibly imagine. Get some flags, get some tapestries only over there at papaswolio.com. I'm telling you, you type in tapestries, you will not find better tapestries than what we have over at papaswolio.com. Other places will have tapestries of trees. They'll have old patterns of tapestries. They'll have tapestries. These aren't your grandmother's tapestries. These are top of the line, go to the fucking gym tapestries. No one's got them better. papaswolio.com.
This is a castle, isn't it?
All day
there
long.
Are tapestries.
We have many tapestries.
All fucking day long. These ain't your great grandpappy's tapestries. All right? This isn't Charles I tapestries. These are papaswolio fucking tapestries. Go and pick them up. papaswolio.com. Shameless plug. Goddamn right.
Every word of it was absolutely true.
Yeah. Your grandmother wishes she had tapestries. How many of you have picked up a tapestry? You can't be talking about tapestries if you haven't purchased a tapestry. These tapestries are flying off the walls, flying off the shelves onto the walls around the world. These ain't your grandpappy's tapestries. Your grandpappy's, your grand tapestries, your grandpappy tapestries. These ain't your grandpappy's tapestries. Your great grandpappy's tapestries got nothing on this. Speaking of scam artists, speaking of people that boil fucking hot dogs on a grill, Jesus Christ. That's fucking bullshit. We have new merch. All right. Now, this, again, I have these ideas, and I think, well, I'm just gonna put this out here. So, there's a lot of scams going on right now. There's a lot of scamming, right? We dealt with like the African princes for a while, right? You got to send me $10,000 or you just won this and I'm going to come and tour your country. Give me $5,000. And they prey on the elderly. Well, now they're preying on you, the taxpayers. Now this gym was recently shut down. And I just want to expand on this because this is part of the global actual kind of sting, the trending exposure of all the waste and fraud. Somali fraud is on the rise.
What's in the box?
And those motherfuckers are going after the gyms too. So first, they tried to scam you out of millions with the Quality Leering Center. Now, they have recently shut down the Quality Lifting Center. Call 1-800-GTTFG. And may it live long. May it live long in infamy. So step aside, Quality Leering Center. The Quality Lifting Center is smuggling billions, millions, and millions, and billions as well.
What the hell kind of country is this where I can only hate a man if he's white?
All right. The Quality Leering Center has nothing on the Quality Lifting Center. Do not redeem. Do not redeem. Do not redeem. All right. Mark says it's funnier because libtards won't get it. No, they won't. They won't. But hey, that's because it's comedy. That's because it's funny. Liberals don't understand funny. They don't understand humor. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the positions that they do because the jokes write themselves. But hey, we already know that, don't we? All right. Hashtag swollen sexy for a I am the papa now. I am the trainer now. I am the lifter now. Quality Lifting Center. That's a good one. Melissa says, I'm so ordering that shirt. Oh, get the shirt. Don't forget your flag. Don't forget your tapestries. The mug is great. The mug is great. I'm really excited because I put up a bunch of flags in the gym yesterday, and I have space for more flags. I have some slots for more flags, and I'm gonna have a Quality Lifting Center flag in my gym. I can't wait. I can't wait for this flag. It's gonna be great. Yeah, the Lifting Center, Quality Lifting Center. Quality Lifting Center. Dope. Dope. All right, fam. Let's give away today's Swole card. Good show. Good drops. Good drops. We have the Tainty Man. Aww. He's almost on screen today. He's twitching. And we have the Pinkston. Swole and Sexy. Drop in the comments down below. Let's give away the Swole card. Who dropped it? Who dropped Swole and Sexy? Someone did. Someone did. Oh, why is that? No. Nope. 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 You guys don't really drop that much. All right, we got a winner today. It's Bumble Hunter. Congratulations. Congratulations, BH. Send us an email to support@swolenormous.com. Swole card 3539 the subject and your mailing address in the body of the email. Oh, we got a lot of cards to give away this week. It's going to be a big week. So stick around and come one, come all. Try again tomorrow for a chance to win today's Swole card and tomorrow's Swole card and every Swole card thereafter. Fantastic. Congratulations. Let's give away. We gave away the Swole card. Let's do a throwback and we'll get off into the fucking gym. Get off. All right, throwback time. This one that was the rampant one. That was funny from last time.
I am pulling out of the All Roads Festival in Maine that I was booked to play on May 16th and 18th. That's because it doesn't feel safe for me to go across the border into the States as a Canadian trans guy.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
I just don't feel like it's worth the risk. So I want to thank All Roads for booking me because I would have loved to be there with you. And thank you for understanding and being so supportive.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, dude.
I'm going to be honest. Canadian and trans is kind of redundant. Too soon.
I also want to give a big shout out to my friend Bells Larson, who announced today that he has to cancel the US leg of his album release tour. He was informed by the Musicians Union that they couldn't process his visa application because the US is no longer approving visas for people whose passport gender marker does not match their birth certificate gender marker. Is really upsetting, obviously, and it has huge implications for all trans people from anywhere outside the States.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Lois, this gay guy is a fucking retard.
All right, fam. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow for 3540. Go to the fucking gym. Join us over at SwoleMSX.com. And of course, pick up some awesome merch over at papasfolio.com. Get some tapestries. Join or get the brand new quality Lifting Center merch over there. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Peace, McGee's, Deuce, Magoose. Your boy, Papa Swolio. Out.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808s, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing. Like an IPO trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now the king left and they so mad, it's like
Then yeah, I found that young king with my crown at 10 racks in the fanny pack, couple hundred in the Louis bag.
That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? We go hard in the paint, chill. What the fuck is you saying? I only go where they pay. What kind of game is you playing? Whoa, my shit is relevant. On topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeletons on closets and making new deposits. I'm in my element, no ollies. You children.